Welcome to another session of Trans Talk. Today we've got our transmission coolers on display, and I can give you a few pointers on where they should go and which ones you should choose. So we're going to start off here on our right side here with our very popular 9-row cooler. Now we all know that transmissions do heat up, especially if you're in a street ride and you've got the air conditioning on and you're sitting in traffic, and you know how some of those traffic jams around the Nationals can be at times, where you sit there with the air on and it's first week in July, so you know it gets hot. So anyway, what we have here is our two popular coolers. We have our 9-row here, we have a smaller 5-row here. Now these you can buy them individually from us, or you can get them as a kit. Most of the times they're purchased as a kit. We'll see a close-up here in just a moment, and I'll show you each individual part. Now our 5-row is a small cooler, but a lot of people like to mount this onto the frame. Now putting it under the car, into the frame, is not the best choice, but some people put it there. It's rugged enough to go there. It does have to have some air circulation around that, so remember that. You can use this cooler if you have a transmission that does not have a high stall converter, because the higher the stall converters, generally speaking, they'll create more heat. So this can generally go with a converter that's in the 2000 to maybe 2400 range, and a 3-speed or a lockup type transmission 4L60E or 700, or maybe the AODE or something like that. This is our most popular one, and it tends to be not overkill, but just seems to fit the bill perfectly. It is a 9-row cooler. Now both of these can come with our line kit, which is a high-performance line. Believe it or not, a lot of guys are still using copper, or they may use gas line. It's really not appropriate, especially the heat and the pressures these are seeing today. This is a Teflon-coated stainless steel line, braided, made to go with this cooler. We supply an 11-foot section that you measure out, and at some point we'll cut and resplice and make to the length that you need. We provide the fittings that go into the cooler itself. Actually, we also have the plastic inserts to either put this through the radiator, or as you can see, it has the holes for mounting rigid into a bracket. Also, these lines come with the cooler also. These happen to be the GM 350, 400, 700 lines that go around the bell housing and hook up to the line itself. This kit also, we can supply you with the Ford type C4, C6 AOD type cooler line fittings. These will go right on there also. So these kits here are most popular, especially the 9-row, and I do believe this is rated at 20,000 GVW. These are so far superior to the old style tube and fin ones that you see in the auto parts store, and they're relatively inexpensive. Well, you know what? That's what you're going to get. That's what you're paying for. I wouldn't trust a $20 cooler to cool my $3,000 4L60E transmission. Get the best and go with that. Now, really over here, this is the Mac Daddy of what we offer. A lot of times this is used in off-road applications. As you can see, we've got a fan, self-contained, and look on the back. Beautiful cooler that is set up specifically for this application. Now the cool part about this is it comes assembled as you see it. This can go down on the frame or under the car. Would work great. The other cool parts about this setup in particular is it's thermostatically controlled. You get a thermostat that goes in the line with the fittings, and it comes on and off on its own. You don't even have to worry about it or flip the switch on the dash. You know, if you forget to flip that switch and your fan doesn't come on, you got troubles. But this one, thermostatically controlled, has all the fittings that you need, the clamps, and the adapter fittings if you need to go into the radiator. Now you can see here though, we don't supply the braided line with this. This does come with a high performance double sectioned hose. This is typical of a fuel injection hose. It is set to run very high temps, and it's set to run high pressures. As you can see, it's made by Continental, and they are a top-notch rubber manufacturer within the world. So this is set up for specifically this cooler. If you want to not use this and run a Teflon coated braided line, you can do that. But this kit seems to work really well with this. A lot of guys out west are using this off-roading, and seems to work really good for the transmissions. Now, in the middle here, we've got a couple of special fittings that we've just come out with this past year. These two fittings are adaptive fittings that go into the 6R80 Ford transmission. Those will go right into the side, and that they will accept a regular 6AN fitting after that. So you can use a regular cooler like this. But these have just come out. They fit perfectly into the block, into the case. They are retained by the same bracket that holds the factory original fittings in, because the factory original setup is a molded one piece, lines are all welded in, and you really can't do much with it. So this is what we supply now, and it seems to work really well. That wraps up this session of Trans Talk. So you guys keep your cool out there. I know it's the dead of winter maybe where you're at, but let's face it, July will be around soon, and you'll be thinking about your transmission, and God, let's hope it doesn't overheat. So we'll see you again for the next session of Trans Talk.